Kentucky, what is your state motto, your slogan?
We are the. We like the Wildcats. We like beer. We like titties, and we're having one hell of a time.
So, Braden, what did you think of the UK game? Because I know you're wanting to tee off from the jump.
It's not that I want to tee off. It's just I honestly was going to ask you guys what you thought, because you guys have seen this team. These guys play this coach. What did you blame it on, the loss? Because I have some very strong feelings, but I'd be curious to see what your thoughts were as to what was, what you saw, what you didn't like, what you liked, if anything. What do you think the reason was for the loss? Any of you can go, but I've got real strong thoughts on it afterwards, because I have a feeling some of you are going to go with it.
I think discipline was bad. Also, it was hard for me to really give a shit when I felt like as soon as I saw the line was like 14.5 or some shit. I was like, no fucking way, we're winning this game. We're gonna lose this game, but it's okay because Big Blue Madness was sick. So
yeah,
yeah, agreed.
But they just don't execute their assignments, don't tie their shoes.
We need a shoelace coach. We have a get back coach. We need a shoelace coach who's on that. Though somebody says I saw somebody say that actually it was tied incredibly tightly, and that's what took him so long to get back in. Like they were watching, and just the way he was tackled, the shoe came off, and then he couldn't get his foot back in it, and he had to untie it and retie it and everything. So
the way that Stoops talked about that today, it doesn't seem like it was a one-off. It seems like this is something that happens in practice, or it's something that is a continuous thing. And honestly, I was glad he said it, because at some point, I get it. Everything ends with the coach. It stops with the buck stops with Stoops. He's the one getting paid the millions of dollars to play. But at the end of the day, you can only you can go coach till you're blue in the face. And if kids they don't do what you say, they don't do what you say. And sometimes maybe honestly, it's I know that he's not the most charismatic coach all the time, but it was good to see him just be like, here's what it was. That is why he didn't get curious. Because truthfully, it's not like he doesn't want to win games. I mean, the guy can he's got a lot at stake to win games. I know everyone seems to think he's wanting out or whatever, but I thought it was good. I really don't blame Stoops all that much, because discipline is as someone who's coached a number of years myself, you can only teach it so much. You can only it's either you can create a culture, all these things, but I think there's some shift here with the NIL stuff that's making things a little more difficult. Because truthfully, you mentioned discipline, some things like that. I heard some people just going off on Brock. I thought Brock was the MVP for Kentucky for that game. I thought he was the only reason they were in the game. A lot of times it looked like he held onto the ball too late, but if you watch a lot of the routes, it was really Key and Brown that they ran really just piss poor routes. A lot of the game weren't. Now, and I don't know the route trees and stuff, but I know what routes are supposed to look like, and a lot of times it didn't look like that. And the discipline thing, the when of the penalties, I don't know how you Denke. I think he had 8 catches for maybe 80 something yards. He was the leading receiver, but he also had, I don't know if it was 2 personal fouls, 2 really bad penalties, and a turnover. That in a 7-point game you can't have that. And he's one of the best players now. He's considered
physically
top 2-3.
Yeah. I think that if he had his if he was disciplined, that he would be being talked about as a early day 2 receiver, because that's NFL. I mean, it's the T. Higgins archetype, right? Where it's big, body, can snatch a ball, big, strong hands, all that. But then it's they're gonna throw a flag.
Well, and I counted 4 on my rewatch, 4 different times that the ref told him stop. Stop John, stop Jackie. He could have, there's a lot more that could have happened. It was not even called that tightly after the first couple, because the refs don't want to be tossing out because he get ejected after the second one. You don't want to keep tossing those things out, but it looked like a lot of half-ass routes and Brock. I mean, even I think he had, if I was looking at it right, he had a decent amount of rushing yards too. He was the second leading rusher on the team, I believe. He had 9 carries for 37 yards with the second longest run of the day outside of the Wilcox carry for 16. But I thought he was the best player on the field for Kentucky on offense. I mean, just not a whole lot of. I mean, I don't know if you guys see that highlight that says hard to make anyone look good from that game, but we'll try. There's just really not a lot that was good, and yet you're still right there with a chance to win it, and you don't. And that's that. They didn't really. I feel like they didn't deserve to win the game, but they still had opportunity to do so. Really frustrating to watch.
The thing that's most frustrating for me is that I really like Stoops. Like watching him Gatorade bath happy after Ole Miss. Awesome. I mean, I feel like he brought the Kentucky program, at least when I was there, I felt like he took a step, like a big step forward. And we stagnated a lot, but to see him happy like that is awesome. And it's a shame that he doesn't get that often.
Now, the biggest takeaways from what I see people saying about him is he's a little like stuck in his ways, a little conservative, and maybe like it seems like just almost nonchalant. But I really have a hard time feeling like, I mean, given I don't know, and I see the stats. People like to cherry pick the thing where they were how they did against Vandy in South Carolina his first 5 years or whatever versus what they've done, the last whatever. But like those are the two teams that are much better than they used to be. So I really don't like that. But I'd like to see. You think there's been a big regression since like his you guys had a good season with Will Levis a few years ago. Has it kind of just been downhill since then, or what would you say was the where people would say it peaked and where it's gone from there? Let's see.
We had an O-line coach that died a few years ago, and since then the O-line has been in not a good shape. We even had one that coached us for a season and then left for Alabama and then came back here, and he is clearly, I don't know, awful based on the play of the O-line. That seems like a big thing. They used to call our O-line the Big Blue Wall, and now we're just letting anybody through there. So that seems like a big thing if I had to pick a turning point. But
it's interesting because honestly, I'm trying to take in a bunch of Kentucky football. Because obviously, with Coach Mack being there a couple years, like decades ago, and then I've mostly followed Kentucky basketball. So I'm trying to get myself into where y'all's mind is to understand a little better. Because truthfully, he's been on a kind of a generational run as far as Kentucky football goes. It's been pretty decent.
I'd also say that it's not just that he's conservative or that he's stuck in his ways. It's that the places when he decides, or the situations in which he decides not to be conservative, are incredibly predictable and the opposite of what I would do. And it's kind of a can't win, because if he goes conservative, people are going to complain about that. And then he takes a risk and it fails too. But it's the risks he takes just aren't good in most cases.
So, I mean, the one he took against Ole Miss shocked everybody, including Lane Kiffin. I'm pretty sure Lane.
Yeah, right.
He'd bet his mortgage on the fact that wasn't going to happen. It is interesting. This is his first stop as a head coach. He's not been a head coach anywhere else, right? It looks like, yeah. Damn, that's pretty interesting. Yep. SEC coach there in 2018. Truthfully, what reminds me a lot of is Coach Whittingham at Utah. Basically for years they've bitched about complained about his offense and like that it's too, even in like with Brian Johnson in 2008 when they went and they beat Alabama in the Sugar Bowl. Even then they didn't have this explosive offense. It was their crazy good defense, manageable offense. They had to come back a couple times from double digits in the fourth quarter to win that year. But looking at, let's see, 2-10 obviously is an aberration his first year. 5-7, 5-7, 7-6, 7-6. That looks exactly like when Utah joined the Pac-12. And just that style of thing. And then he kind of got 10-3, 8-5, 5-6. I don't know how you go to the Gator Bowl at 5-6. 2020. That's why. Then 10-3. So, I mean, truthfully, I don't see a whole lot to complain about there, but I guess it's the way in which those games occur. Looking at overall records is one thing, and then looking at how it happens is another. So
I feel like we did have the playoffs some of those years if it was a 12-team playoff, and then the whole
2021 maybe
the whole
did we have to vacate? Is different. We may have had to vacate that 10-win season.
11th year, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we have an outside chance of making it the Benny Snell, Josh Allen year when we beat Penn State in the Citrus Bowl.
2018.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a good team.
Yeah. You know what? 3 losses. Who did they lose to? Let's see. I'm looking at it right now. That was a good looking team. Ooh, A&M in overtime. That sucks. And then the Tennessee loss had to be killer, huh?
Oof. Oh yeah.
Every time.
I'd have. I mean, just
17
Jesus
34.
Christ. Okay.
And 43.
Okay, a little bit of anti-Stoops stuff here. It does feel as though it does feel as though he's taken Kentucky about as far as he can take Kentucky. So I think people, especially with I think the Calipari thing might have a lot to do with it. If people are just ready for a fresh set of paint across all of the programs. And he did tell everybody to pony up for NIL and then to go and have games like this season it's a tough look.
I feel
And
like we're the
even with
most
the
talented we've
discipline,
ever been. Yeah.
yeah, and with the discipline problems, like you can blame the players as much as you want, but he's still playing them.
Well, what choice do you have? I mean, they're paying these kids to be there.
I guess it depends on how you want to lose, right?
I suppose, but again, we're talking about a touchdown game in which if they don't have these just horrifically bad turnovers and penalties in the worst spots, I mean, they're going to beat Vandy. Even this is a generationally good Vandy team. Diego Pavia is outright like there's that offense. They're
The
so
same
good.
story with Stoops though for years and years and years.
Football has this margin of error from a successful season.
Fair enough. I mean, Utah State in 2021 wins that Mountain West title. We had like 17 times where we literally every single game except for 2, we had to come back in double digits down, and it was the most undisciplined football. We just got everything to go right for us. And we win a Mountain West title, and it's great. And then the next 3 years, it's just gone downhill because we have zero discipline. We have just entitled. It's just the same exact. That's why it frustrates me so much. Is because it's very similar, but I don't. Like I know what you're saying. Like you got to but sometimes it's like who are you going to play? You bring a kid. I don't know if Brock's being paid, but it's a lot. A lot of people are calling for the backup, but it's not going to happen. And unless Brock's hurt or dead, he's going to be the starter. And I think he's got all the tools. I think he'll be fine. But point is that Dane Key and Barry and Brown. I guess who do you play instead? Do you bring the next guy? Then maybe, but you risk losing him the rest of the time, right? Like. That might be a final decision type of deal. You might make that change, and then it's got to be. I don't know. I maybe I sympathize a little bit with the coaches. It feels like they're just in an absolute between a rock and a hard place because you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If they win this game 20-13, and we're talking about, well, then we're bemoaning that South Carolina lost even heavier right now because you're 4-2, and it looks like you could really be doing this thing. But as it stands now, it is what it is. But it's outside of you're 8 points away from being out of those 2 wins. South Carolina, when that game sucked, man. Jesus. That was pretty close for a while, though, wasn't it? 31-6. It was close until the 4th, I thought.
That's just another game where we also just felt like we were underprepared for who we were facing.
Well, that game was
lost to Old Dominion.
That's true.
I thought Kentucky was going to win that game by 3 touchdowns after watching that Old Dominion game. And Brock only had 3 completions that game. The hell.
Yeah, it's just baffling sometimes, but it is consistently baffling and has been for years. We did have for a while, starting in like 2014 or 2015, we had a great streak against South Carolina that was fun. It was maybe, and we may have beat Vandy when I was there, but it was like I always viewed Vandy as like a gimme anyway, right? And South Carolina was, in my mind, like the first real SEC win of me being in college. Like it was huge, and we kept it rolling. We had a 5 or 6 game win streak, and now that's gone, and we're losing to them again. And yes, they've improved, and of course, Vandy this year I think is totally different from Vandy of the past. But if you're sitting there at the beginning of the season and you don't have those games you can count as a pretty solid win, and you're sitting there trying to count to 6 to see if you can get bowl eligible, that's a tough look.
It's also tough because in the battle of mid that Kentucky is in the SEC constantly, we've now been passed up by Vandy, we've been passed up by Missouri, we've been passed up by South Carolina, and then all of a sudden it's like, are we going to go to a bowl game? And even then it's like 6-6. It's like, all right, cool, let's go play the Birmingham Bowl. I'd rather just make a change and just see what we can do.
No, I understand that argument, but let me ask you this though. So like the being passed up by him, right? Like yes, you lost to Vandy this year, but I guess Vandy does have a 2-game win streak at Kentucky now, don't they? Jeez.
The vibes around the program are just night and day.
That's fair. And also, I was looking even last year, starting out 5-0, it looks like, and then finishing 7-6. That's really, a 2-6 finish isn't fun. I understand it's the SEC and it's tough, and you can't, But the next thing I was going to ask you guys, looking at their schedule going forward, just out of curiosity, what you guys think. So at Florida, obviously it's unpredictable. It is weird. What's your feel on it? You think they get the win at Florida?
2 weeks ago,
no.
I thought so.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's
when we
it doesn't feel like it.
Ole Miss, I was like, oh, we're gonna crush Florida this year, and they're gonna be the bottom feeder school at least.
I still think you beat Florida. I do. I think Vandy's better than Florida. I think Diego Pavi and Jerry Kill on that offense they're so good at that offense. It is so. You see how they didn't panic at all on that last drive right before the half. Didn't even need to call a timeout. Just ran it to perfection. 8 seconds left, and they scored to get the ball.
What we see, and that's what we want. Is Vandy has significantly less talent than Kentucky. Size-wise, the quarterback is obviously got just Superman.
They got a really good tight end too.
But yeah, to see some like 5'10" white guy just run routes all over our first round corners, yikes!
I mean, Jack Gulkey in the basketball team, but I get
exactly.
you. Yeah,
But football
it's frustrating.
a little bit more talent driven.
Because it's one of those things where it's just like Vandy's able to find guys who are able to scheme stuff around the talent that they're working with. What are we? I've never felt that way with this team. Not this year, certainly not the past couple years. It never feels easy, and it's so frustrating because it feels like constantly through Stoops' tenure, it just feels like it's just disorganization.
Also, why don't they simply run slot fade with Barry and Brown like I do on NCAA?
Why don't they run the damn football? And give the back the ball. Run through somebody's face. Dog. I'm serious.
Well, we have like a running back and a half.
But also how many passing attempts did Brock have against South Carolina? I mean, it's not that we are totally just throwing and throwing and throwing.
Okay, so I need to look at this because that's a good point. I didn't realize you don't.
I bet we ran way more than 10 offensive plays. I mean, they're trying to run and just not doing it.
So you can't just throw the ball 10 times, completing 3 of them, and then run the ball 46 times, which is what they did.
Right. Obviously, that's not great balance.
So, like you went 6. It was 6 for 17 for 44 yards. It's an absolute dumpster fire passing against South Carolina. That was mostly, I think, a scheme issue where that end was coming off, and they really tried to double, triple, and like just overwhelm that end when really they should have just schemed around him. Like make him the option guy, make him on the other side, roll the pocket, move the pocket. I mean, it's what everyone else has done in South Carolina, and it's been pretty successful so far. But that's a pretty bad. Oh, that's rough.
Beamer owns Stoops. Because they talk shit. Don't talk shit and then lose. It's just like
that's always a bad look.
Don't ever watch Aggie football. At least not until you get a new coach in there, because you'll want to. Yeah, that's all it is. Is a bunch of DBs not in the play doing this. Like, get out of here, dog. Like he dropped it. He dropped it.
Or it's over. 10-yard overthrow.
Brayden, I don't know if you know this because I know you're new to Kentucky fandom. Would you like to know what Kentucky's home record is in the last 12 SEC games?
It's 1-11, right?
It's 2-10.
2-10. Okay.
We have just as many wins at Kentucky as Vandy, South Carolina, and Tennessee.
What's their road record in the same amount of time?
I'm looking at a Twitter post.
I know. I saw the same one. That's why I liked. I hate cherry pick stats, but that's a good one. I get it. But
it's home field.
Yeah, it's the one that people go to the games. People haven't been to a Kentucky game that they've won.
Well, you told us to pony up.
Yeah.
And how could it change in 3 weeks? Is my point. He didn't. I mean, like honestly, like it takes time to build these things up. Like they're like, look, I'm not trying to be the biggest Stoops defender, but also
the SEC.
He's also the winningest coach in school history. But so we can play that game. I mean, it is what it is. But like, there's not been success before him, really. I mean, Bear Bryant a million years ago.
He's also not likable.
I think he's fine. He's not charismatic.
Maybe you love him.
I think he's a piece of shit. Is probably the problem. Anybody who knows.
Well, I don't know that matters at Kentucky, but we saw the ovation.
All the little boosters in Lexington. I think Summerall would come in and immediately get a bunch of Kentucky money.
I think Tulane beats Kentucky this year.
I absolutely.
It'd be close. It'd be a touchdown game. Vegas would have it as a 4-point favorite for Kentucky.
And we pissed on our leg.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Halftime adjustments would happen.
Is that really a thing, though? Halftime
Halftime
adjustments.
One of the teams.
Hugely, yeah, absolutely. It is.
Oh,
I know.
I recommend I recommend Coach Stoops try them sometime. Might be nice to have some halftime adjustments for us.
How do you know he's not making them? And it's just not. They didn't work. You know what I mean? Like again. I hear
if
you.
we go right back on him though, he makes halftime adjustments. They don't work.
All I'm saying is,
in
Go
his
ahead.
defense over the pony up comment, I know Mitch for a long time was really hamstringing our NIL efforts, and that's compounded by the fact that we don't have a good GM for him to be doing the fundraising stuff. And I think that, like, obviously as the coach, you're the figurehead of the program. To some extent, fundraising is always going to fall on your shoulders, but also I think that there's a lot that we as a school could be doing to help him. And maybe we'll get started on that. I mean, for basketball, Club Blue has really turned things around in terms of what we're doing from a fundraising
Who did that,
perspective.
though?
They're doing this blue white thing. Well, yeah, no, I mean, I know a big part of that is Pope enthusiasm, but I'm saying I think that that's encouraging from a how does Mitch view NIL perspective instead of sort of shitting on it like he has for years and saying we don't need to do this and giving you all these hurdles to overcome to raise that money. At least on the basketball side, it looks like he's more open to trying stuff to bring some money in.
Well, the thing that you got to keep in mind too, one quick point on that is NIL and fundraising for the school are vastly different things. So an AD is going to definitely be in a weird spot there because NIL takes away a lot of time from school donations and athletic part. Talking to even Utah State's athletic department, it's something that is kind of tricky, right? And it's on a much smaller scale, obviously. But when you're talking like getting money to the players and like setting up those deals, there still has to be technically deals in place. And there's not a whole lot of guidance and structure there, and it can take away from the fundraising and athletic department. So it is weird to see or not weird, I guess, but I can understand maybe some missteps a little bit. But it doesn't sound like you have those same missteps with basketball. So, and again, Mitch is kind of in a weird spot just in general right now, but. It'll be interesting to see how it goes forward. I think that you'd see an influx of it. How long do you think that, assuming they hire a Summerall or whoever you guys want them to hire, how long do they give them before they turn on him too? Because they're not going to win overnight, I promise. Not in the SEC, I don't think.
Oh, it would be years for football.
You'd win overnight.
Yeah, exactly. We'd win the.
I'm freaking crazy, dude. I'm freaking crazy. You don't think I can convince myself that we're going to win the national championship?
Yeah,
There's no ends to my insanity.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is it is a kind of a moot point because we do not have the money to fire Stoops. The best thing that we can do as fans is to shit on the program and make Mark Stoops want to quit, and then we can hire John Summerall. That's the big brain play.
That's the only thing.
Until John Summerall sees how you treated Mark Stoops and wants nothing to do with it.
John Summerall went to UK. He knows how we're feeling. He was a Stoops assistant. Sure, whatever.
All right. Okay.
And then we'll get the next guy.
I'm just saying, man. I gotta be real with you. I didn't see it with Cal for a while either because I wasn't as close to this stuff. And then, I used to argue all the time with one of my friends about Kentucky basketball. I'm like, oh, he's a Hall of Fame coach. How could you possibly be bitching right now? But I get it now, having dived deep into it and figured that out. But I don't know, man. The grass isn't always greener. And it doesn't. I mean, how many conversations we had though where you're like, oh, I thought so and so, like Gary Anderson to Wisconsin. Oh, they're going to be a wagon. Nope. They absolutely fell apart, and he was even worse at Oregon State, right? And he absolutely revived our program to heights we'd never been to before. So it could be, but I think that I'd like to see a little, because this is really the first season I've watched every game in depth and gone back, and I guess I didn't really watch a ton of the Southern Miss games. That camera angle was just absolute boiling hot dog water. It was terrible. But anyway, so at Florida, you all think we're losing? Is that the?
I think we'll lose. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we're losing for sure.
Okay, I'm gonna go with the win.
You asked me to bet on it. That's what I'd say.
What did you say? We're in.
Okay, just pencil in a W. Lose. W.
If we lose to Florida, how close are we to wheels are falling off territory?
I think we're so close to basketball, it doesn't matter.
It's so true.
It matters a little.
I would give up 6-win seasons for the next 10 years for 2-win seasons if it meant we could have that floor from Big Blue Madness.
It gets too hot, they say, playing it, but hold on one sec before you get into Big Blue Madness, because that shit's dope. But I want to get a little more misery going on here. Do they beat Auburn at home?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I think Auburn is us, but worse. They're extremely undisciplined. I think Brock physically is a lot more impressive than I was expecting, and I think he's going to grow and like get this handle on the offense to the point that he like by next year, I think that he's going to be a very good quarterback. I don't know if he's
Brock,
good,
yeah.
but his arm talent is much more than I thought it was going to be, and then he does the Levis style of just bruising.
I'll put that evil on him.
Fullback. I mean, Will Levis
Yeah.
against Louisville in whatever his junior year, the guy was fucking Superman.
Hurdling dudes. It was sick.
I mean, I got Levis jerseys all over my wall because I am still talking about
Must-watch TV, brother.
Yeah.
He is must-watch TV. I got a whole mural I'm making right now with week to week.
He's got a few videos that are must-watch TV too, if you know what I mean.
Thanks to Yvonne, I do know what you mean, actually. Real quick, because I'm just curious. Are they going to... Okay, Jared, are they beating Auburn?
Yeah, sure.
Ben?
You asked me to bet on it, I'd say no.
Are you doing a flip bet?
What? No.
Okay.
No, I'm just curious to see what it can... okay, foot bet they do beat Florida. Or not Florida, Auburn. They'll beat Auburn, and they'll beat Florida. And Murray State, yeah, they're not beat... Do they beat Tennessee? That's really what this all hinges on.
Murray State, that would be the funniest thing in the entire history of
what?
You say that until you get your ass beat 35-7 to Weber State, and you never want to look at your football team again. So don't put that evil.
I grew up 20 minutes from Murray. Murray State or
us losing to Murray, would that save the program?
It would. It would save the basketball program because we would stop throwing money into a burning pile of football.
See, this is what you're missing on this is if you lose football, you're going to have a dip in basketball. You can't just not like it's a major nightmare to have a trust like in like you need football to be competitive. It's the moneymaker. Basketball doesn't make any money. Comparatively, it really makes nothing.
We will get
Oakland save the basketball program
on the SEC schedule.
Say again?
I said we will get the money to be the cupcake on the SEC schedule. If they get to play Troy every year, but say they got an SEC road win, Alabama's gonna be happy.
Dude, we could be a buy game for people.
Yeah.
This is a whole new revenue stream.
Yeah, right.
What are we? What are we doing? Paying schools to come play us? We should be paid.
Yes, exactly. You should
in no world is this a serious. What the fuck is happening? In no world is this a serious discussion right now. It's so fucking.
I think it's the big game play. I think we tank the game against Murray, and that's like our Oakland loss, and then we get Schlarman, RIP. We get I'm embarrassing myself because was that Summerall in here to fix the program.
Yeah, when Summerall takes to Washington, make sure because Jet Fish can't coach.
Brandon, you just asked me if you thought we were going to beat Tennessee, and then accused me of being the unrealistic one.
I said, "What are they going to win?" Okay, what's the result? I was just asking a yes or no question, but if you must,
the Tennessee game is at least 3 touchdowns. And
okay, I will bet you guys. What do you guys want to bet? Are you saying that Kentucky wins? Is that what you said?
No.
Oh, absolutely. Kentucky's winning that game. I'm just going to tell you now.
Is it at Kroger or is that Neyland?
It's at Neyland.
Oh, we're getting worked, boys.
Okay, we'll see.
I'm not even going to watch that game.
Styles make fights, boys. Styles make fights, and they match up really well.
I'll watch that game. I'll watch us lose that game.
I don't want to hear Rocky Top playing and fucking Nico looking like the savior of the Cleveland Browns or whatever. And Kentucky just getting shit on.
Nico's going to do things to us becoming of a quarterback of the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
How did you guys feel going into the Vandy game? Just and be honest. I'm curious. Did you think? I know, Jared. I know how you felt. We talked about it, but
I felt not optimistic. And then
you thought you were going to lose, really?
I thought we were going to lose, yes. But I thought it was going to be because they were better than us.
Well, they are, but you know.
Well, I think they were coached better, and I think that they executed better. But I just don't think, like talent-wise, they have even.
Like you might have
nearly-
faster guys that can lift some more weights. Yeah, if that's
Yeah.
what we're getting at. Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, but discipline is a part of it. I mean, you can't coach effort. You can't coach. I mean, you can coach everything else, but effort, like I just didn't see it. I think, but look at you. Okay, you think Georgia would have busted that ass? It was a 1-point game. You beat Ole Miss. I don't see why you can't beat Florida, Auburn, and then Tennessee's vulnerable. They're not as good as I think people. I watched them play Florida, and that game set football back 30 years. It was horrible.
They don't have to be as good as people think they are in order to beat us.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's Ole Miss
Or
then?
close to it.
Yeah. Oh, what was that?
What's Ole Miss then? Is that just doesn't count now, or what? Like
Ole
that team
Miss
doesn't
is-
exist? I mean,
is
it's a
Ole Boys
stylistic
got a job
matchup.
At Florida lined up next year.
I think
If Lane
Lane
Kiffin
just
ends
had
up
a
at
good Friday
Florida,
night.
I'm about to go to Fist. It's on site, boys. Listen. So here's the breaking news. They've been one more game. They're beating Murray State, and that's it. So they got one more game. They're going to win. They're going to finish. What is that?
No, I think they win Austin.
You think they're going to beat Louisville?
Yeah, I'm a Kentucky fan. I've come across very negative, but I'm still a Kentucky fan.
Listen, I
Yeah.
don't think Louisville is within 2 touchdowns of Kentucky. I think we could lose every game, even Murray, and still beat Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
Your bias is showing pretty heavy, but that's fine.
That's what it's all about, baby.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Okay. It would be. How about this? It'll be a big upset if Kentucky. If they played today, it would be a sizable upset to beat
Well,
Louisville.
last year too.
Okay.
That's taxes. Cats beat the Cards.
It's like the last 15 years now that we've beat them in a row.
Yeah, it seems like we were saying the same thing about Vanderbilt until just barely. But
No, we lost to
fine.
Vanderbilt last year. No, I knew we were losing to Vanderbilt, but they get up.
None of my kids have ever seen Louisville beat Kentucky in football. I got a 6-year-old.
I was 2nd grade when Louisville beat Kentucky the last in football.
I'm not sure that's true.
I'm
It's open line.
Hey, we said no fact checking.
All right, Vance, relax.
Yeah, don't be a nerd. Fact checking here. I wouldn't think that it would be Braden of all people that's the most positive Kentucky football fan, but that might be your newness showing.
Yeah,
It also might be like my propensity for the coaching side of it, and I really get irritated, or not irritated, but like I feel like coaches get like you hear about like this coach sucks, this coach sucks. You get in a meeting room with him, and the guy's brilliant, and literally it can be as simple as like it's why you can beat Ole Miss one week and lose to Vandy the next, and Vandy's going to lose a game to somebody they should. I mean, shit, it wouldn't surprise me if they lost to Georgia State the week before they beat Alabama. So I mean, you can win. The margin of error, like Caleb said, is very small. But I really just don't see him losing to
If
Florida.
You
I
make $9
don't.
million, you can suck my dick from the back.
You can pay me half that when we get there.
This is why we're funny, Braden. It's a game of matchups with what you were saying.
Yeah.
That's what we keep trying to tell you, bud. It's a game of matchups. That's what we keep trying to tell you.
And the matchup is Louisville.
Mhm.
Louisville because Louisville is cursed by the devil.
Yeah. Okay.
Live in
The
hell.
matchup you can't avoid when we play Louisville is that you're wearing the Kentucky uniforms and they're wearing the Louisville ones, and the blue ones just beat up on the red ones.
Yeah, God hates Louisville.
And birds don't have teeth.
It's a fact.
Man, this episode is gonna go crazy the second they lose to Louisville. That'll be fun. I don't think they beat Louisville. I know. I'm just making jokes, but I don't think they beat Louisville. I think they lose to Texas. I think they win the next 3 though, or 2 of the next 3.
We beat Texas for sure.
Yeah.
Murray State, I think he's probably the iffiest 50-50 call. But
why am I even doing this?
Texas and Austin, I don't know. It's fucking Big 12 football. That's bullshit.
This is how you can tell we met on Discord because we're shit posting on a podcast.
But that's what makes it great, man. That's fucking last time I come with notes and just get shit on the whole time. All right.
Hey, now listen. I think Kentucky has the opportunity to be good at football.
I think they're good at football now.
We have a coaching staff that will take advantage of that opportunity. The unique opportunity they've had to get SEC talent for the first time in program history, they've squandered it.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between Coach Calipari losing with like the best of the best players and Mark Stoops losing with good talent, not like high-end SEC level talent. I mean, the quarterback is the guy that sat behind the last two starters at Georgia, for the record. Okay, couldn't see the field, so there's a major difference here between like the enthusiasm that Pope injected into the program with the transfer portal. That fits really well. I honestly think you'd see a mass exodus of your best players. You'd get some guys, let's say it is the Tulane coach, you get some guys from there. I think it would be a struggle. I don't think it's like it is. It is tough, dude, and especially in like a transitionary time. Maybe Stoops is he's a little long in the tooth and been there a little too long in this new era with NIL and money is going to be tough for him. But I also think that there is something to be said for a guy that he has been a consistent winner. Can't really, I mean, winner being 7-6, whatever you define it. At Kentucky, it hasn't been done. It's never been done. And maybe the program has peaked under him, like you say, but also like it peaked right before NIL tipped off, right? Like that's kind of where the best seasons that you're all describing happened, right? We're right before the NIL bug or the gate opened up for NIL. And so maybe there is a little, that's my whole thing is I feel like it's kind of the Wild West of like, there's the two transfer portal, like, windows, which they need to cut that down. That kills programs, especially smaller programs. But I'm not ready to give up on the only guy that's been able to consistently win at Kentucky. I just don't see how.
Hey,
Yeah,
I agree. I was really complimentary of Mitch for a long time for after those, was it two seasons where we had 2 wins? I mean, it's just Stoops' beginning was a little rough.
Yep.
And I credit Mitch all the time for giving him his time to get his guys in there, get a coaching staff that's what he wanted, get his system in place, and he did that, and then we started going to bowl games, and that was great. And I mean, I'm not giving up on it, but I do fear that we've reached our peak, and it isn't
and
great.
the peak can be we could be a top 25 team in the country and have a
Mhm.
losing SEC schedule. So
looking at it here, so the first year 2-10, 5-7, then 5-7, and then since 2016, it's been a bowl game every year since 2016. Obviously, this year pending. That's unprecedented, man. That's tough to say that it would be because it's the SEC. It's not like it's the Mountain West where you can like catch fire, get a few dudes, and go win the thing. It's the SEC. Your next step up is finishing higher in the conference. That's beating the Georgias. That's beating Alabama's. So really, what it boils down to is getting in somebody who's going to take it not from because like you say, it's the mid off. But like where do you go? But there, like you win 2 more games, you're 9-4. You're still in the Music City Bowl. I mean,
Our schedule also got a whole lot harder when they stopped having divisions in the SEC. Like this is new. I mean, we used to have Georgia as a, pencil that in as an L, but then
yeah.
everyone else was at least a reasonable opportunity. You had Missouri every year before Missouri was great. You had Vandy every year. You had South Carolina every year. Those are all at least question marks as
Mississippi
you're noting
State
this down.
every
And
other
yeah,
year you
yeah,
catch them probably.
yeah, the goal
right.
was
But
to
but
have game day come to Kentucky, Georgia, because that was going to be a competitive game for the SEC East. That was what we thought we were going to end up with Stoops. Well, right before we got to that point, we started losing to Vandy, South Carolina.
I mean, you did have a really competitive game with Georgia. It was a 1-point loss.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
get up for the games that they should get up for, but they don't take the ones that they.
Except when they do, right? When they beat Ole Miss. I mean, it's just the Vandy loss that's really tainting this whole thing. If you win that game, you're looking at a 3-game win streak. It's hard for me to, I don't know. We'll see. They go lay an egg at Florida. Like, honestly, that Florida team is down, and that team is down bad. Their wins are a bad UCF team, a bad Mississippi State team, and Samford, a non-FBS team. That's who they've beaten, and they've lost they lost to Miami, Texas A&M, and just that dog shit game against Tennessee. But I mean, we'll
It's my
see. But like,
ignorance. But is that at Florida or is that at Kroger Field?
it's at Florida.
Oh, we're losing. Okay, yeah.
You know what's
We're
funny
cooked.
is because like you just lost at Kroger Field and just beat the 6th team in the country on the road. But that fuck me, right? Like I don't know anything.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
But I just don't. I think that they think that they're going to beat Florida, and that's the problem.
I think that in an environment like that, like it's kind of us against the world. I actually think that can galvanize a team like Kentucky that does struggle with discipline issues. I think having 80,000, however many people they fit in that thing in the swamp that are absolutely, they're not even. I mean, it's not a good Florida team. It's just not. I mean, you can get tickets for $25 right now. Look at that. And I really think it'll be a game that they win. I don't see them losing that game. I honestly would be more worried about them losing the next week at Auburn or at home against Auburn because that's a team that is down. They think they're going to be shitty, and it's at home. it's a similar type situation.
Do you think
I would be more
Kentucky
concerned.
could save Hugh Freeze's tenure at Auburn?
I don't think Hugh Freeze's tenure at Auburn's in any danger of going anywhere. Truthfully, he's not doing well, but I don't think they're going to fire another coach that quickly.
Yeah,
maybe they would.
How many
Who knows?
podcasts he goes on and says, "If you think about it, we're really undefeated."
I mean, if you just take away the other team's points,
Yeah.
my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. It's a great hypothetical world we live in. But
I'm worried about something. Is that I have a wife and kids, and if I see one more person suggest that Kentucky should hire Nick Saban, I'm going to strangle that person, and then I'm going away for life.
And we'll take care of it as a group effort for you when that happens. But who's suggesting that? I got ag fans telling me we need to hire Urban Meyer, but I don't think that's a good idea considering why we're under investigation.
I saw a post earlier asking which of the two would you throw the bank at, Urban or Saban, and it's
Make
like
him say no.
Neither. Yeah, right. What an absurd thing to propose. Just insane. Hello, everyone. Today, let's talk about our new brand partner and today's sponsor, Glass. That's right. We've sold out for big glass. Imagine a world without glass. No windows to let in the morning light, no mirrors to check out your fantastic self, and no jars to see that homemade jam or make videos online that I personally starred in. Glass is everywhere, doing hard work so that you don't have to. Glass is durable, recyclable, and perfect for every occasion. So take it from this one man and his one jar when I say, get yourself some glass today, because clear is the new cool, available literally everywhere. And for our special listeners, visit Back the Glass Up and use promo code Raid Shadow Legends for more glass. Side effects may include an appreciation for transparency, occasional smudges, and jar-related injuries. If your appreciation for glass lasts more than 4 hours, do something else because that's weird. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
So, are two Kentucky boys going to set the record for 3-point percentage in college basketball?
No, but they're good. What is the record?
I have no idea. I think actually, I'm pretty sure one other Kentucky boy might own the record.
Yeah, it might be Reed.
But I think that he missed the cutoff. For
it's two. I'm pretty sure it's two Northern Arizona guys and a Utah State guy that are the 3-point percentage leaders of all time. It's Steven Surf, J.C. Carroll from Utah State, and then Ross Land in the top three career-wise.
But I think Reed isn't on that list because he didn't have enough attempts.
Yeah, the minimum of 203 points made. Like, that is a lot. It's like double what Reed made because he was only here for a year. If you lower that threshold to something more reasonable, I think he'd be on it.
I'm doing single season. Yeah, Travis Ford at 5th is the first Kentucky player. J.C. Carroll, Utah State, 16. Let's see. What's for a season? You just need to make 2.5 threes a game. Did he not do that? Doesn't look like he did.
Surely he did.
Surely he didn't come off the bench.
What?
Surely our two highest drafted players didn't come off the bench
on the Houston Rockets.
So Reed last year was 75 for 144 for 52%.
That would have put him at 6th all-time greatest season if he qualified or whatever. That'd be just a hair under Travis Ford. That's crazy.
Dang. Sounds like he might be like the 8th or 9th best player on the team.
What was the actual explanation given for that, by the way? Why didn't he play? What was there questions asked about why he didn't play more?
Absolutely, obviously. Because Calipari hates Kentucky fans.
I mean,
he personally wanted me to be miserable, and so he didn't play good lineups.
You really think that's the reason?
I think that he
hates Kentucky fans.
People's dads.
No. He hates me specifically.
I mean, Vanderbilt seems to say "fuck you" to you specifically the last couple of weeks, but hey, what do I know?
True.
But Reed, I mean, his dad's a Kentucky. Okay, all right. So people he just said what? What was his Cal's answers? Did he have answers? Did he not answer the question?
Yeah, no. I think Cal's inability to answer questions was one of the things people were frustrated with.
You didn't see him.
Yeah.
He didn't see him.
I haven't seen him.
That's the Shaden Sharp thing. Who is that?
Yeah.
What is that? Okay.
Anybody who
That's
ever had
so
any
late.
injury.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of. What does he have a policy to not comment on injuries or like unless they're season ending or something? Because I know a lot of coaches that do that.
Yeah, he had
They
a
don't-
policy to not comment on anything that he didn't specifically want to comment on.
It's that damn lifetime contract.
But there we go, talking about my ex John again.
He did something like that today. He deflected and just totally changed the subject at media days. I don't remember what the topic was, but
Yes.
he was pressed on something and he just immediately pivoted and answered the question he wanted to answer.
It's amazing how different things are now. A few months down the road, you have somebody come in who knows what we want.
And you
He
didn't
knows
even
what
know you wanted
tickles-
it. No one knew it.
he
I
knows
was in
what
there fighting that
tickles-
battle.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, we are the reason Mitch didn't get his January 6th experience.
Absolutely, 100%. I'm saying as a whole fan base, like I thought I was going to get January 6th. Okay, like just for promoting the guy, and he was like 6th best on the betting odds at that time. But he's one of y'all. He's the most. I don't know. I think Pitino said it really well. Like he is literally the guy. Like there's nobody else on planet Earth that would get this job more. And I know you've been saying that for a long time, but
It was ridiculous how well that. I mean, I think that I cried during Big Blue Madness.
Well, what's interesting to me is that, like, yes, he gets us, and obviously we're all excited for the season, but the way that this change has manifested in the videos that the team puts out, the content, the photos, I don't know if we had a change in photography staff.
Yeah.
But everything has just been awesome. It's been total fan service. It's been, I mean, it's
whole
the
package. That's what-
player the players feel accessible. Like I mean, I know this is a big thing Pope wanted. Hey, we'll get the guys who want to be here. But every coach says that. But these guys seem excited. They seem willing to hang out with and talk to people at tailgates, willing to interact with people, and that's such a different feel for me than we've had recently.
it feels a lot less sterile from what it seems like it felt like before. Like seeing the guys in the crowd was pretty sick. Their own personal intro. Like I know, like stuff like that matters. Like and it matters to the players too. And it matters to the next recruits. Like who knows who's going to be in a place 2 years in a row, but like seeing stuff like that lasts a long time. You see it with the recruiting too. And I see a lot of people dogging on like, oh, it's Kentucky's lowest preseason ranking since whoever, who gives a shit, right? Like this team's, I'm sure you guys are sick of winning the offseason.
I love the idea that we will outperform that instead of that we will underperform.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean the guy gets it. The guy he talked about it before he was even Kentucky's coach about being a college basketball coach and what that means. It's not just X's O's coaching these kids to do whatever. It's not just recruiting. At this point with NIL, with the transfer portal, with going pro, waiting it out, like there's just this entire leader of men type thing you have to do. But then when you get to Kentucky, there's a whole new aspect of you're the greatest showman as well, and that
he looked at too.
It's got staying power. Yeah, and it like that's what Calipari was missing. Calipari's shtick got really fucking old when he was losing. Like, there's not much grace, but the goodwill that Mark Pope is just building up right now is great, and it's going to help with recruiting. It's going to help with keeping fans engaged. It's going to help get asses in seats.
I mean, sold out Big Blue Madness. It looked so cool. I didn't get to watch it live with you guys, but it was when I did rewatch it. It was so sick.
Yeah, the floor was dope.
Yep.
He like just throws out. Maybe we'll just buy this thing. Maybe this will be ours.
So awesome.
Do you think that Pitino wasn't going to show up until at the end? Did you think that was a no-go, Jerry? Because I know you texted me and said no Pitino, and I was like, well, we'll see.
I wanted him to introduce Pope. That's what I thought I wanted. I didn't know what I actually wanted, which is what I got.
Yeah.
And that was for Rick to finally get his flowers. And if you would have told me in even April that that was going to happen, I would have called you a liar to your face. But
I have a screenshot that I did say that in April, but that's okay.
Sounds like a horn tutor right now, huh?
Well, horn tutor, yeah, because I did say that.
Horn tutor.
Jared would have foot bet on this one.
Oh yeah, foot bet for sure. I would have spread my toes, everything, the whole line.
My
Full foot bet.
You foot guy like that then?
my dad is he was in high school in the '90s, right? So Pitino, Mark Pope, that whole he never had the animosity towards Pitino. It was he was the greatest basketball coach of the greatest basketball program in the golden age, and that was the mid '90s. And Tubby only won with Pitino's roster, and like that's his idea of what Pitino was. So
Mhm.
there's like a Gen X, I guess, is what my dad is. A Gen X generation of Kentucky fans that think that way about Pitino because they didn't get they don't they're also not the ones that are just online seeing all of the like that entire KSR verse Pitino saga and the Katina Powell, all that stuff. Like they weren't up to speed on all of that. Um,
I mean, there are even Louisville fans who became Louisville fans because they were Kentucky fans under Rick, so they just went to Louisville with Rick. Now there is a name for those people, losers, but it was still nice seeing Rick come back and seeing how much it meant to him. Really affected me emotionally, and I didn't see that coming. To see Rick,
you know, he never thought he was
tearing
getting
up.
that. He thought he had lost the opportunity for that.
Till El Capitan gets hired, then bam, bam, here we go. That's got chills thinking about it.
And I'm not beyond thinking that if Louisville in the future were to hire one of Rick's guys that played at Louisville, I'm sure he'd do the same thing then. But just the thought of seeing Rick in blue again is just so mind blowing.
I don't think he would. He's literally an active head coach for a Power 5 team right now, and he's doing it for Kentucky. I don't think he does that for anyone but the captain. I don't think he does it for anybody but Pope. I truly he doesn't seem like the guy that's out here doing favors. It seems like it was.
I don't think people realize Pitino was a prodigy. Like think a younger by 20 years almost Danny Hurley in the '90s.
Yeah.
Ridiculous how he set the world on fire in the '90s in college basketball. And yeah, so there's a bunch of people who remember that as the golden age of Kentucky basketball. That's their John Wall. To for me, Kentucky basketball experience is John Wall, Anthony Davis. To them, it was Pitino and those guys. And now we have.
Yeah, didn't you say it was your senior year of high school? Jeez.
Senior year of high school was when we won the Natty. Yeah.
He was just a little younger than Hurley. Hurley's 51 now, and Pitino in '96 would have been 44.
Wow.
I did not realize he was at Louisville for 16 years. That's insane. I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm not going to pretend that I didn't love hating Rick Pitino because I was the biggest Pitino hater in the world. I was laughing at the Cypher stuff, and I was laughing at the Katina Powell stuff, and I was celebrating when he got fired and everything like that. It was hilarious. But I guess it's just time heals all wounds, man.
Yeah,
it was sick seeing him back.
An old man who realizes his mistakes in life, and to get something that that he just that washed away so much regret from that man's life, and just to see him go back and get that ovation at at not only Big Blue Madness, but probably the biggest.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And
Lewis.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
I mean,
I'm crying.
Seeing him be there, looking at his career arc, being at Kentucky till '97, obviously taking the Celtics job. And then he comes right back for 16 more years in the state of Kentucky. Mans would have been. He said it. He never should have left. Mm-hmm. But I think that was a full circle. That was super cool.
Yeah,
he would absolutely be Coach K.
Yeah.
Good to see him back though.
That was such a sick moment, dude. Honestly, that was so dope.
I have Wikipedia pulled up, and I just see is the only coach to win a national championship at 2 schools. Asterisk.
Fake it.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy playing him in the Final Four this year.
You think St. John's gonna be in the Final Four?
No.
Okay.
Canary Richmond gonna go off.
I mean,
They do have the
They
best
had
defense in the
defense, but
East.
be a good team.
Right? Is there anybody in the Big East that's better than him?
UConn.
No. The place.
Creighton. Oh. I mean, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, Ben Simmons didn't make the NCAA tournament, did he?
Nope.
No. He didn't even finish his
Well, he
spring
didn't have Rick
semester.
Pitino as his coach either.
He just. That's true.
How'd they do last year? St. John's team.
I don't know, but they get to play at MSG, which is pretty fucking cool.
In 2013, 11 and 9.
Yeah.
What
I don't
about
think
Ken
they're in
Palm?
there full time anymore, though. I think they have like their own thing. I think they got booted out.
Well, so he said that when he was talking about a home and home, he mentioned playing at Arthur Ashe Stadium at the U.S. Open, which would be cool.
That'd be sweet.
Didn't he say look forward to getting his ass kicked in Rupp or something like that? Like that was a little rough. Like I don't know that you say that as a standing head coach, but okay.
He's just
Yeah.
he realizes that now he can retire in peace as a hero in Lexington and just fuck around with horses. He's all right.
I saw somebody propose that we give him the ambassador role that we had carved out for Cal.
Yeah.
No.
As part of his lifetime deal.
Would be.
No.
I think that giving Rick control of the recruiting might not, and just some things come up in my head. Some parties I don't know, some stuff.
I don't think it's control of anything. I think that the whole idea with Cal was that you have this lifetime deal where we pay you, you're the highest paid coach in college basketball. And then when you're ready to retire, we pay you $1 million a year to be a program ambassador. I don't know that it has any. I don't know that it has any responsibilities
other than you
but someone
the boosters. Because Mark's not
right.
He drinks shots of.
Mitch Barnhart's not giving this dude a penny.
No.
Yeah, Mitch Barnhart might not be the AD.
I don't think it's going to happen.
But I don't know that Mitch Barnhart's going to be your AD for very long. But.
That's true.
Is he going to survive the swimming thing?
You shouldn't.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
I don't know. I haven't heard a word about the swimming thing since 2 days after it broke. So
yeah, it's like every 16 months something pops out of one of those types of federal investigations.
Yeah, don't I know it? Okay, don't I know it? It's the worst because it never goes away until it finally pops off and shuts your whole football program down to where you don't win a game. Oh, you beat Robert Morris, but he's just one guy, so it's not even that impressive. Holy balls, dude.
How do you guys feel about the UK preseason poll in the SEC?
Perfect. I think it's perfect because I think we outperform it, and I also think that the media is gonna be like, oh well, I mean, we had them in the top 30% of SEC teams. It's in the margin of error for them to win the SEC, so they can just hop on the hype train, and just go ahead and just get it rolling. But it gives us this floor, I think, of hype that we will probably in my head, we're going to obviously outperform the fuck out of it. But
I think Kentucky is going to be the biggest jump in Ken Palm from start to finish. One of them. I think Utah State is also going to be one, truthfully, because I'm a homer, but it's also been the case like the last 10 years. But I really think like looking at their schedule, like they're getting like Ken Palm's like my favorite, but also it's not great for a brand new team. Even though there is statistics, it's just some guys are way more like inefficient with their old team than they will be with the new team, all that stuff. But I really think that this is. I think it's the best Kentucky team in a while. It's not going to show in the preseason polls or anything like that, or even Ken Palm's got them at 42. But they're still going to
matters because Duke is the second game, and if we win that game, we're immediately top 5. Like that's what would happen. That's
a good point. That's actually a really good point. Yeah, no doubt.
Arkansas being at 4 has me feeling some way though.
It's just
it's Cal's reputation. I mean, and it's just. It's probably even muscle memory at this point. Just thinking because how many times in a row was it you guys win the offseason? The preseason.
Quite a few.
Cal's record versus preseason polls because I imagine it's like 1-11.
Oh, for sure. I'm not saying it's valid. I'm saying it's probably how it happened, how that occurred.
So yeah, give me the good, not great ranking We'll see how it goes. Everybody's cautiously optimistic on the media
Florida
side.
and A&M in front of us.
A&M looked good in the
Come on.
numbers last year, though. I think that's probably why.
Did me and Ben ever tell you guys about us seeing Buzz Williams in person?
Mm-mm.
Super weird.
Yeah,
Seems
well, I
like-
spoke to Ben and I was like, Ben, I didn't know this. I'm pretty sure I could kick Buzz Williams' ass. He's really small.
It was really strange because for one, he didn't have on a 3-piece suit,
Yeah,
and he was wearing street clothes. It was just super strange. You don't see him in that context ever.
I think we also saw Rick Barnes eating ice cream.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, that was
Definitely
a weird
saw Rick
day.
Barnes. I don't remember ice cream.
It was a weird day.
Rick Barnes. Remember what he was like? It's like Bruce Pearl was like the heir apparent for the Kentucky job. Billy Donovan was like the heir apparent for the Kentucky job. All those like until Cal came along. We had all these like this is going to be our next coach. Rick Barnes. As soon as like I think the Nerlens season happened, people started chirping online about Cal being washed. It's just like
That's funny.
Might have been right.
yeah,
Literally
kidding.
1 year removed from a title.
yeah.
And he's probably accurate with saying that's how. Yeah, I mean, he got washed eventually, but I feel like it wasn't that quick.
No.
Did you guys happen to see what's Kelsey, Louisville's coach? Was he at the thing
Yeah.
at Pete's Gym?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
We
Peach
walked
Jam,
up
yeah,
by
for
him.
sure.
Is he?
Is he
5'2"?
little? Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
He's a little guy, dude.
I mean, he's a good coach. I wanted to hire him until all of a sudden he gets the Louisville job, but
Until you see him in like the whatever Piper Perry porn promo looking picture with his basketball team.
Have you seen the team picture, Braden?
no, but I'm gonna look it up.
Oh no! Look in the chat. I put it in the chat a little bit ago.
Like I
Before you were
guarantee
on.
you, at some point, he's gonna have 5 6'10" dudes behind him in a picture, and he's gonna be in front of them. They're gonna be arched around him a little bit. He's gonna be wearing a white shirt.
God damn! I knew it was going immediately.
And that's just gonna become a meme. So I like this hire.
He's got obviously his fupa right behind his head. It's pretty sweet.
The thing that blows my mind, and I know I said this earlier, is that as much as I've praised our photographers and our videographers and everyone working on sort of the marketing side for UK, this is the worst team photo I've ever seen from Louisville. It's
Especially
players have their eyes closed. There's a dude in the wrong jersey. I mean, it's
Why is it
just
tilted?
didn't even notice that.
Well, I don't know. Didn't notice it was tilted, but like it's just not a good picture.
What is Ali Khalifa looking at, bro?
93 going full Beavis and Butthead.
You mean fucking Waterman? Noah Waterman?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Former BYU great, huh?
That's so funny.
Bro, I've never seen somebody with a long style buzz cut, but Noah Waterman's got one, and he's always had one. It is stand straight the fuck up buzz cut. What? This is the official one, huh?
Yeah. I don't know if the photo's tilted or if Ali Khalifa's just tilted.
Well, the court looks like it's like this.
I have a feeling they're gonna have a rough
Draw a line from the guy's shoe on the left to the guy's shoe on the right. And he's hitting his ankle. It's absolutely tilted.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But
you're right.
I mean, what do you guys expect? They blew their budget on the Avengers 4 transfer portal spaceman video that they put out.
They got Noah Waterman, bro. They're gonna be
Just
fine.
Let his kid take a picture on their iPhone SE.
Why does it have to be an SE?
Because that's not good enough to be.
I know it's so bad. It's
We didn't even
terrible.
mention the guy who has the wrong jersey on.
Dude, that's unbelievable.
All right.
You're taking the photo today.
Letters.
Make him go home and get it. Make him go home and get it.
Wait. He's got a different jersey.
Yeah.
Dear Lord.
Yes.
It's in red.
It's
I'm telling you, I think it's
insane.
an act like you belong situation. I don't think the guy's on the team. I think that it's just a guy who showed up. He went to Hibbets before he came. Gotta replicate.
It'll get you further than you think sometimes. I mean, you put on a security shirt, you're getting in some places. That's wild, though. If there's not, you guys seem, hold on. Wyoming had worse ones, though. Not like worse quality, but just I didn't understand it.
This is a top 10 basketball program. And they're taking photos like that and putting it out.
I mean, that's generous.
I mean, historically, I would put Louisville in top 10 basketball program status.
No, definitely.
But they're kind of like Indiana.
Yeah, I mean, it's a dead brand.
Yeah, fuck me. Okay, fair enough. I was wrong. I was about to just be like, no, but you're right. Everyone else seems to think that, so I'll agree with that. Jeez. But that is just... There's no way. They're going to take a different one. They're going to see that shit hanging up on the wall, and he's going to get furious. My man's got like 20/20 vision. He can get cable with those glasses. He's going to see that and freak.
I need to get off here, boys.
I'm drunk.